Welcome back, Risers. Today, I have a very, very special guest on, Rhonda Ross. She is in the Texas market, Houston, Texas. Like Houston is a whole state itself, but she's in a really big market in Houston, Texas, and is absolutely crushing it when it comes to new construction. And today, I asked her to unpack that. What does it look like? How did she build it? How did she get started? Wait till you hear some of these numbers coming here. She's absolutely crushing it. And also, what I asked Rhonda to do for us, because she gave this awesome presentation at Real Estate Distilled, and I'm like, can we somehow get that presentation to people? And so we got the slide deck from her presentation at Real Estate Distilled. If you text the word Ronda, and that's Ronda, Ronda, text the word Ronda to 833-500-1135. Again, if you want this slide deck that she put together from her presentation at Real Estate Distilled, text the word Ronda, Ronda, to 833-500-1135. And without further ado, let's get on to the interview with Rhonda. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the Agent Rise podcast. Rhonda, you have built your business around something I get excited about with new construction. And I say to agents all the time, like, if you can nail your niche, you can really, really succeed in this business and get really excited about the people that you serve. And Rhonda, when I think of this, I think of you because you have done an amazing job. And so, Rhonda, welcome to the Agent Rise podcast. How are you
Thank you
today,
so
my
much.
friend?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share what I've learned, mistakes that I've made so that other people hopefully don't make them. And I would love to see everyone, find their niche, whether it's new construction or, something else that they're interested in.
That's awesome. Give us a little snapshot of like where you're at today. I hear you've got just an amazing business that you've built, where you're located, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm in Houston, Texas. If you know Houston, it's 2 hours away from Houston. It's so big. So that includes Houston and all the suburbs that are here. I've been in real estate for going on 16 years. I've done a little bit of everything in real estate. I just somehow got connected to builders. We represent multiple builders in our brokerage, and then a lot of our agents represent buyers who buy from builders in our brokerage as well. So I just tried to really find an area where a lot of agents weren't looking into and figure out how I could attack it and go in and own that section.
The last I heard, is it true you have over 100 listings of new construction? Is that accurate?
So we actually have more. So what we do is they're not active listings. We have developments. So we've secured multiple developments that are multi-phases. So one of our developments right now, we're going into phase 3. One of them, we're going into phase 2. Some of them are anywhere from 5 phases to 10 phases. So right now, with all the phases that we have under contract, we're looking at close to 700 listings between now and the next 2.5 years, based on how we're phasing out. So that's including large scale builders, smaller scale builders. I have contracts with 2 builders where, even though we don't have land, I'm outsourcing land. So we'll receive all of those listings as well. We're bidding on it. So we just did a bid on a 50-acre property. That's going to be a lot of houses. So if we get that, we're looking at another 5 to 700. And so we look at it as that, right? So not just what you see active on the market. It's think of those bigger development homes where it's like they have one listing, but they have 12 houses for you to choose from. So I always tell everyone it's not what's on the market. You also need to figure out what's not on the market, which is why you need an
Yeah.
agent because they know how to find that.
So take us back to the very beginning when, ground zero, where others that would be listening to this that would love to serve in new construction. How did you get started? What did that all look like?
So my first listing was actually by accident for a new builder. I have a good friend who is an interior designer, and she picked the finishes for this builder in particular. He was listed with an agent that had almost too many listings, and he was by himself. He didn't have a team, and he was really struggling. And so I said, "Hey, just give me one of your listings, and let's see what we can do." So when she introduced us, I told him about my background. Originally going to school to be an architect. I loved building, and just different things like that. And so whenever we were talking about it, he said, "I'll give you one to see what happens." And I sold it really quickly, but I did something different than most agents do. So a lot of agents are really bad with communicating. I'll be very honest with you. I see it in my brokerage. I see it outside of my brokerage. I hear about it all the time. With builders, you have to communicate all the time. And that's one of the things that he loved is the fact that every single week I gave him a communication of everything that was going on. Marketing I've completed, marketing I plan to do, what activity was in the house, what the feedback was. All these things I put together for them so that they're not guessing what I'm doing. Right. And the best way to build trust is to not only tell them what you're doing, but show them what you're doing. And I believe that across the board with anyone, a listing, or a buyer. Right. So, and that's kind of what I did. And then once I got one, he's like, hey, let me give you a few more. And then I realized how nice is it to work with one person across multiple listings instead of being out there in the rat race of chasing, trying to get the next listing, the next listing, the next listing. And so it made me realize like this is what I love to do, but I also love the from ground zero. I love to help them find the land, approve the design, right? So I'm meeting and speaking with, buyers every day. The builder's not. So my relationship with my builders are, let's all stay in our lanes. So I'm talking to buyers. So I'm bringing feedback to them so that we know what we need to adjust on the next house. Right. So we all sit down on one table and we just hammer it out.
I think about your positioning and your background and your ability to help builders with plans and designs. You're adding more of a service than just a real estate agent, right?
And you have to, right? So, and Houston in particular, last time I looked, and you know, don't hold me to this, but I think it was like 48,000 active agents in Houston, right? So you've got to figure out what are you going to do to set yourself apart. And for me, I love that aspect. People, it's not like a resale home, right? You go, you meet your client, you have a marketing plan. It's somewhat standard to what you see a lot of people do, professional photos, video, all these things. With builders, it's very different. So you're there at the land stage. What side of the lot does the door need to be on? What side based on noise? Let's talk about entry and exit of the development. There's so many different variables we look at. What are the interior designers picking? Is that what's trending currently in this area? So even though Houston's large, different areas trend with different things. So Pearland, which is a suburb, is going to have different things that are trending than up in the Woodlands. They're an hour and a half away from each other, but it's just a different clientele of people. So you really have to understand what's going on and advise your builder, because the goal in life for everyone is we all want to close houses, right? The builder makes money, the interior designer makes money, the agent makes money, and guess what? The buyer is so happy, right? They got a home, they love it. It's the home of their dreams. And you got to think about that when you're looking at stuff. So we're looking at, functionality as well as trends.
Have you designed your office kind of as a showroom?
I did at one point. So it's funny that you asked. So I'm in the middle. The reason why it's all chaos behind me right now is I'm actually closing down the office. Um, so we have been meeting people, or particular me, I've been meeting different people at the houses. So our builders have at least one staged home now. And we kind of use that as a way to showcase that builder. Our goal is if that home doesn't work, we show that buyer other homes from that exact same builder, not other builders, just that builder in particular. We can bring out plans, but it's good for them to feel, touch, and see exactly the quality of our builders that we represent.
And is there something else that like you do that is extraordinary for builders? Like that just sets you up. Like I thought that showroom thing was such a unique idea, but like, is there something else like that that you do?
I mean, it's really the front end stuff for builders, right? So a lot of times they go in, they listen to an architect that builds the same plans for everyone. So for me, what we do on the front end before the home is even built is the most important part. And a lot of builders don't think of these things, right? So I just went to the county and had a meeting with them about water, right? So water is become a thing here in Texas. A lot of people are influxing in. We have the data centers, love them or hate them, they're coming in. So we got to think about that. So when we're building out houses or building out a development, we need to figure out how many homes are going there. We have to propose that to the county, who then proposes that to the state, because we got to make adjustments. And those are very important things. So a lot of agents, again, are just trying to get the listing and list the house. I'm trying to make sure that that development is successful long term. So, those are things that I'm always looking at too. I'm always pulling permits in the city to see what's being built there. There's one development in particular we actually bid on. We backed out of it because we saw they were building a mega, you know, data center. And we're not sure how those are going to affect value long term. We're hearing negative about them and we're also hearing positive. But right now, with the builder, or any client in particular, you don't want that risk when it comes to selling.
Yes. So, Rhonda, I am learning something here while listening to this is that you're thinking more in development and more in big, working with developers and builders, not just like one builder at a time, but more like in the development is really, really where the business is, right?
It is. It is, and you gotta get there, right? So I initially started with one-off
Right.
builders, and we still represent them, and honestly, some of them are still my favorite. So where they do, 3 to 8 homes or 12 homes or, and those are fantastic. That's what's happening absolutely in the city, but in Houston, we are running out of space in the city, so we're having to move out to the different suburbs with the influx of people. So the city meeting I went to last week, they're expecting 20 million more people in Texas by 2040, which, I mean, how do you, so it's all these things are coming to play. So I always that's why I tell people I'm not just getting a listing and listing it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with our county, what's going on with our city, and how we can always be ahead of it. So whenever I'm ahead of it, I want everyone, all my builders to be ahead of it as well. How do we appeal to the masses and how do we help these people who are moving in?
Wow. And so before you were there, you worked with these smaller builders that, build 5 to 10, 15 homes a year. And I think that's where a lot that are listening probably are, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the ways, the services that you provided, what kind of services do you provide them that's more than just what a normal agent would provide?
Yeah. So a lot of it is going to be knowledge, to be honest with you, understanding building. So I've learned in real estate, a lot of agents really don't understand building. When they work with the larger developers, they don't really have to be a part of the process, right? Get in the process. Find out what's going on. Do your research. Look online. Ask the builder questions. I think that's really important when it comes to these smaller builders. They usually don't have the capital. I started going out and meeting with different companies that raise capital for builders. A lot of builders run out of money. They don't know how to manage the money within the build process. So, figuring that out as well, right? So, who do I need to go out to? It's not going to be a bank. It's going to be a private lending. It's going to be a hard money lender. It's going to be a capital fund that has been raised to help these builders scale their business. A lot of times, like how I received my first builders, my first one was the interior design one. The second one, his wife was representing him. Love her to death. If she watches this, she will not care that I say this. She did not want to represent him. He made her. She would rather be with the kids. So, and I sensed that. So I was like, let me help you get out of this and I'll take over the listings. That's one of them. And the other one, he was representing himself. And my question to him was, what's your priority? And he said, I want to scale, but I can't. I said, you can't scale because you're trying to build, you're trying to manage the project, you're trying to market, you're trying to sell, you're dealing with agents, you're dealing with buyers. There's no way you're going to scale. You're always going to build 8 homes a year if you keep doing this. Bring me in, give me 1 year to show you. Let me take all of the sales and marketing aspects of it off of your plate. You focus on building. And if you don't grow, that part of your business, then, we can go our separate ways. But he did. Now he does, 50 to 100 homes a year. So you really have to like find out just like what is their challenge, right? So what is their challenge? What are they going through that you can help alleviate the pain and come in and take it on and handle it for them and find solutions. I love like my favorite thing I tell everyone in my office, what is the solution? Solution, solution, solution. That's my job is just to come up with solutions.
Love it. And you have a background from oil and gas and that corporate background, right? And that structure. Have you really been able to bring that into the business?
Absolutely. So, um, project management based. So every development to me is a project. So, I have my project team on it. So I have my marketing, videographer. Sometimes I partner with, specific agents as well. So I really have each one set up in our enter internet system as a project. And everything from start, from, sending the proposal to having it signed to having every single home closed. What does that look like? Who is involved? Who's responsible for what? I love timelines. I really love deadlines. All that comes from my background of running massive oil and gas projects and sourcing. So, sourcing and solutions. So, in supply chain management, your job is to source and come up with solutions. And that is what I do every single day.
If you were one of these agents that said, you know what, I want to make new construction my jam. Like I really want to build, I want to represent builders. I love everything Rhonda is sharing here today. Like, what are some tactical things that they could do today to get started?
So, some of the things that I would recommend for an agent to do, find a builder association in the area. So, most of them do have some kind of builder association. Get in there and start mixing, mingling, networking with the builders. You're also going to meet a lot of their trades. So, you're learning about, electrical, plumbing. I think all these people are really important to have in your ecosystem when it comes to working with builders. Go to build sites. So I love to go to build sites. Something I advise builder or agents to do is, most builders do tend to show up on Monday mornings and walk their build sites. Go to a build site. You don't have to go there for the listing, right? You don't have the experience yet. You're there to build the relationship like you would any buyer or seller. You're also there to ask about the products, learn about the builder, learn how they build. Um, you will be surprised how open they are and how much they want to talk to you and tell you. They are so proud of what they do, right? So I always say every builder thinks they're the best builder. We always laugh about it. And I even tell my builders that. I'm like, all of y'all think the same. So it's great. I love it. But absolutely do all that as well. But I mean, really, you've got to understand new construction, and that's going to be your biggest thing, is truly knowing from start to finish how to complete a home. So they want someone who's going to protect them from a buyer who is calling them 200 times, asking them, why is there this hole in the wall? Why is there this hole in this wall? And it could be something as simple as, we just shifted something, right? But they think the worst. And your job is to keep everyone calm, use your knowledge to explain what's going on.
And as an agent listening to this, like it's just a matter of just deciding that this is something you're going to focus on. It's getting educated, right? Like I mean, you have got so much knowledge around new construction and project management, and you can bring all of that forth. I think if you've got a design background and if you got an understanding of what is really in, like I'm not hip to this at all, but like if you focus on it, you really can get in with the trends and understand what is hot and stay up with that. But you got to focus on it, right?
100%. I always tell anyone, like, anyone can absolutely represent a builder. They just have to put the work into it. And, like you said, they need to focus on it. They need to really learn, you know, start to finish, just like they did whenever they got their, first buyers or first sellers. They had to focus on it and learn. It's the exact same thing. It's a little bit more and a little bit longer, but I truly believe anyone can do it.
One question that just popped in my head here, Rhonda, you work with, I mean, you sell a lot of new construction and you probably work with a lot of buyers agents that don't know what they're doing when they're representing a buyer buying new construction. We've been talking about how to position yourself as a listing agent to work with builders, but speak to the buyers agents that are representing buyers out there buying new construction. What are some things that you see that they just need to know that they tend to not get?
I mean, honestly, I'm going to go back to exactly what I said with the listings. They have to learn new construction. I can't tell you how many times I get fire phone calls from buyer's agents who have no idea, that might be stressed about a hairline crack in, somewhere. And I'm like, yes, it went from hot to cold outside. It's expansion and shrinking, right? It's something as simple as that. It's really and truly goes back to the fact that no matter what you do in real estate, our job is to protect the asset and the buyer who's investing in the asset. Know what you're doing. You need to truly understand whether you're representing the buyer or the seller in new construction. You have to have some kind of baseline understanding of new construction.
So good. Rhonda, you're amazing. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you on the show. Is there anything else that you'd like to include today to send us away on helping agents go get into new construction?
Go find builders. So go start a list, right? So I tell all mine in my office, write a list of builders. Know who they are, show up, get to know them, network with them, talk to them, go market their property for free, right? So go call them and say, "Hey, I would love to do a video. Hey, I would love to meet you at your property." The best way to get in front of anyone or work with anyone, whether it be buyer, seller, or a builder, is to get in front of them. If they don't know who you are, how are they ever going to hire you?
That's it. And they need your help, don't they? Like, I mean, you've
They
really
do.
added a ton of value to builders and they need you, don't they?
Well, they do, and I even tell people in a hot market, they need you, but right now we're not in the hottest market for sellers, or at least in my area, we're not. They need you now more than ever. So it's kind of one of those with anything, strike while the iron is hot. Right now, they need you more than ever. We have more houses sitting than selling. So go out there, show them why they need to work with you.
Yeah, build up that value stack of all of the amazing things that you provide more than the average agent. And Rhonda, you've done an amazing job with that. Thank you for sharing all of this today. You're amazing. You're super, super busy, and I just appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time today. You're amazing.
No, I've been enjoying it. So, yes, I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Agent Rise podcast. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.